my dad, like, you know, like I've said this, you know, my family wasn't wealthy at all. You know, my dad was a truck driver for, you know, I lived in Arkansas, I lived in California, we moved around. He was a long distance truck driver. You know, that's what he was. And then, you know, so we did okay. Like you know, we lived check to check, you know, and I remember, and then, and my dad decided, you know, he wanted to try to do more for us. So he went to the corrections, became a corrections officer, and then we moved back to California. And then, same thing. I mean, even then, you know, it was just, you know, we still lived kind of check, didn't have a lot, you know, and, but he worked his fucking ass off, man. You know, like I doubles and triples, holidays sometimes, you know, we wouldn't see him working, trying to make money, you know, and so I always noticed that when I was a little kid, how hard that dude worked, you know, and he always would tell me, like, son, like, I'm not gonna be able to give you the best things, but I'm gonna be able to do what I can for you. I'm gonna do everything I can for you. And there would be times, like, you know, like, they would be stressed out on, like, Christmas, you know, that's what fuck work, I'm a dad, I know, you know, and you're gonna be able to get your kid everything they want to have or whatever, you know, and somehow, I don't know how the fuck they did it, and they always managed to just get us everything we wanted, like, that we, you know, as little kids. And then, there's one time, and I remember, it was, and I'll never forget it, there's a couple things I'll never forget, but there was this one time, it's when I was, like, in junior high, and all my friends were into BMX, and I really liked riding and shit too. Like, it was just a thing at the time, and I was like, fuck, I want a BMX bike, and all my buddies had, like, red lines and dynos and mongoose, and I mean, I remember the names of this day. I don't even know if those bikes even exist anymore, but those were the hot bikes on the streets during that time. You know, that's what everybody had. That's what I wanted. Mm. And my dad knew I wanted one, but, you know, at that time you're talking $500 to $800 for a BMX bike of that quality. And as bad as, you know, I wanted one, my parents couldn't afford to buy me something like that brand new. So I remember one day, it was my birthday, and my dad shows up, and I just remember him, like, holding it together, kind of like emotionally wise, and then saying, son, I know you wanted one of those bikes. Like, I know, and I want to give you one, but, like, I can't get you a new one. And I was like, that's all right, you know, it don't matter. I don't have to have a top of the line one. He goes, well, I got you one, but it's not brand new, you know, it needs a little work, you know, it needs a little love on it, you know. And I was like, all right, you know, I was like excited, you know, and he wheels out this solid chrome bike, pretty much. Basically, all the decals have been taken off. From one, like, the back fork area was, like, spray painted purple. So it's chrome and this little purple. That's a bike that basically had been stolen at one point, probably sold to the pawn shop. My dad bought it at a pawn shop. It was a dyno. And the dyno's a fucking great bike, you know? And I was so pumped. I didn't like the fucking purple, you know? And my dad told me, he's like, son, I know you don't like the purple, but what we'll do is we'll get some paint thinner and some steel scrubs, and we'll go out there and we'll sit down and, you know, scrub that shit off, son. That paint thinner, get down and scrub that shit off. And he goes, it'll come off. And so what did I do? I was so happy. It was badass. I was like, it's like solid chrome. I just tried to make I didn't care. It was a dyno. The stickers didn't define what the bike was. The bike defined what the bike was. Like I said, I didn't like the fucking purple on there, but guess what? My fucking ass sat out there all night long scrubbing that goddamn purple off. And I did. And I rode that bike around. I was so fucking happy. And my dad even said, like, son, we can, like, maybe find the stickers online and stick them on ourselves or whatever. And then boom, it's like a brand new bike. And I was like, hell yeah. But I didn't want to change it into that. I wanted to keep it the way it was because, I don't know, it's just how he gave it to me. Like I said, I didn't like the purple, but the way the bike was, chrome and everything like that, it was my bike. And I was happy with that. And so that's just kind of how he was with me, you know, and how my family was. You know, and then as I got older, you know, I got into wrestling. And was I the best wrestler? I wasn't. My brother was 10 times better of a wrestler than I was. But my brother didn't have the work ethic that I did. My brother could have went on to college and done great things. Me, I had to work really hard to become a good wrestler. And when I started getting into high school, I remember my dad would wake me up. I lived about 10 miles from my school. About 10 miles from my school that I went to school at in high school. He would wake me up in the morning, make me get ready, put all my shit on, and I would take off running. And he would follow me in a silver Dodge Intrepid. And he would follow me. And he would be right behind me. It would be dark outside still, and I'm running to school for conditioning and for weight. And when, he followed me with that car for two reasons. One, for dogs, because there was just like a lot of stray dogs in the area. So if a dog, he was able to, you know, help me out, you know. Two, that car stayed at a certain miles per hour. And when I fell below that miles per hour, my dad would hit me with that car. That's real shit. I mean, I would get up and I would get a little nudge in the ass, and that means that I need to fucking pick it up. And actually, there is another reason why he had it back because he'd be playing the tunes for me, loud as hell. My dad had no reason to get up. He worked full fucking time. He had no reason to want to get up and go do that early in the morning. A lot of times getting off work late as hell and then waking up in the morning and making sure that I was there. And I loved it. And I never bitched about it because I liked that. And so my brother, like I said, was a way better wrestler than me. And I'll never forget, there was one day we were on that run together. My brother did them with me. And my brother just looked at my dad and said, I'm fucking done. I quit. I don't want to do this. My brother just didn't like that. My brother didn't have to do that. Would he became better because of it? Fuck yeah. But he could just show up at wrestling meet and be a bad motherfucker. I couldn't. My conditioning and my work ethic is what helped me win tournaments or matches or anything else that I did as far as wrestling, and that was what my dad was. And I can't tell you how many times I would get there, finally make it to that point of getting there, weighing in, standing on a scale with a fucking sandwich, and hopefully I make weight with that sandwich and I get to eat this fucking sandwich. And then when I wouldn't make weight, my dad would say, well, son, you got two options. You can either wait till lunchtime and re-weigh yourself with that sandwich, or you could run that direction, and there's a fucking hill. It's called Rocky Hill where I'm from. It's another round trip, 5 miles, 2.5 miles there, 2.5 miles back to the school. Because you can run that, and then hopefully you'll be good to eat that sandwich. And he goes, it's up to you, what do you want to do? And I'd go run that fucking 5 miles. And what did my dad do? My dad would fucking follow me. And we would do that. And there, and that's the way it was. And that's where my work ethic really started coming into was, my late junior high, early high school years, okay? So then I remember there's a time that I trained so hard for a wrestling match. I went to this tournament called the Lemoore Bash. It's massive. It's huge. Some of the best guys in the world or in the state all come here and wrestle at this tournament. And I was there. I was in the best condition of my life. And I remember my very first match was the #1 kid ranked in the state of California. And we were wrestling and going into this end of the second round, I was down 13-0. Okay, 15 points means he texts me and it's over with, and it's just done. The match is over. We went into that third round and I look and that kid's huffing and puffing, and my dad says, "You got him now, son. He's fucking done." He goes, "Go in there and wrestle your ass off." Long story short, I lost that match. But I lost it at the end to a decision. Him just having more points than me. Do you know what points he finished out at? 13 fucking points. I won that third round. He didn't score another fucking point on me. You know what I finished that round with? 10. I came back and let him score another point on me, and I scored 10 points on him. And it was all because of my conditioning. And it was because of that work ethic and that training that I went through that my dad had instilled and put into me. And then then I go into the consolation bracket. I'm basically at the bottom of the bucket now. Now, if I lose one more match, the whole entire tournament, I'm done. My final match to get to medal in the competition is a kid who's I believe he was ranked #7 in the state from Riverside, and so I know this. I'm not ranked at all like this, but I go in there and I wrestle my ass off just like I did that very first kid, and I ended up beating that kid. So one of the top ranked guys in the state didn't medal, and I medaled. My dad and I have that medal. And it's through my whole high school life, that medal meant so much to me. I always looked at that medal because there was no reason I should have medaled at that tournament. But because, like I said, what that work ethic and just everything that he put into me and that dedication, that's what made me win that. And that stayed with me forever. That through my whole high school career. Then when I get into my sophomore year, I'm not a big guy in high school. I'm talking 120 something pounds. I graduated as a senior at 132 pound kid. Going into high school, I was little. I wasn't very fast. And my dad loved football. I love football. So I started playing football. I played football my whole life. And so I was a wide receiver and a free safety. And my freshman year, I was terrible. So that whole summer, I worked my ass off going into my sophomore year, out there all day, every day, catching footballs. My dad was working with me on routes and everything else. And next thing you know, I go into my sophomore year and I become a varsity football player because, one, my dad taught me how to hit. And I wasn't a big guy, but he taught me how to hit with everything I fucking have. Not just that, to hit somebody so goddamn hard, it instills fear into them. And two, how to catch a football the right way and everything else. And so I became a really good football player to where I had a lot of letters from a lot of colleges to come and talk to them and go to their school. I mean, Colgate University, the Beavers, Washington Huskies, I have letters of these from these colleges. But at this time, through my whole entire life, my dad always had like a game plan for me, was to, no matter what, If I wanted to play football, he would have loved it, obviously. But was to join the military, do 20 years, retire at 38 years old, become some type of either federal police officer, something like that. And that was like my plan. So did I go with that? No, I didn't go to that football direction because one, 9/11 kicked off. And so I was like, then I was really in fucking military mode, and that's what I wanted to do. And I had a plan, and it sounded great. The way my dad laid it out, you know, he's like, you'll be double dipping checks by the time you're 50-something years old, 58 years old. You're gonna have a great retirement. And that's, you know, just what he kind of built for me. And the reason my dad built that for me like that and had that structure for me like this is because he didn't fucking have that. And he wanted me to be able to live my life a lot better and provide for my family a lot better than what he was able to do. So that's like my dad is just a lot. I mean, I remember when I was young, he would, you know, I would want money and I would want to buy things. And my first car was a 1975 Chevy Nova, beat down. And he gave it to me before I could drive. He said, son, just work on this all summer. And it's going to be a really nice car for you to drive. And I'm sorry that it's not the car that you wanted, because the car I wanted at the time, what was in when I was in was slammed out mini trucks on airbags with 20-inch spinners. That was what it was, right? That's what it was. And all my friends had them because their families could get them to them. My parents couldn't give me that, but my dad bought me a badass fucking muscle car. And he said, son, look, we're going on something. At the end of the summer, if you don't want it, sell it. That's your money. And whatever you want to do that money, son, you can go down and buy you a truck, get a job, and pay for your monthly payment. I can't pay a monthly payment for you on a car. And I said, okay. So all summer long, I would go out and I would literally work in orange fields, changing sprinkler heads and stuff like that. And I would work in walnut fields, picking up walnuts by the bucket, getting paid per walnut bucket I picked up and put into a basket. And I would sit out there and my dad would drop me off early in the morning, and I would sit there and he'd come pick me up, and I would make cash money right there on the spot. And that's what I did for all my summer. And then eventually got to a point to where I was able to get a job at a gas station. I worked at Fast Trip in a fucking ghetto-ass city called Farmersville, California, where it's 95% Hispanic, and it was gangster in there. Like, I'm talking ghetto, where I've seen guys get knocked out right in front of me at the cash register, and I've seen guys be beat the shit out of in the gas pumps. Okay, and I was a little white boy working my ass off, and I'd be in there at 2 o'clock in the morning. I would go to school, go to my sporting event, or wrestling, track or football, whatever it was I was doing at that time, and then I would go to work. And I would do my homework there, and I would work there till sometimes 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I would go back home. And then I would get up early in the morning if it was wrestling season, and I'd go fucking do that run that I did every fucking morning. And the one thing that my dad always told me is like, son, if you're gonna work like that, you're still gonna do everything else. And I did that. Why did I do that? Because that time with that Chevy Nova, I fixed it up and I sold it for $5,000.
Because he gave you the work ethic.
Because he gave me the work ethic. I sold that Chevy Nova for $5,000. I went down to a car dealership and I bought a slammed out Dodge Dakota, emerald green. You know, emerald green V8 slammed out to scraping the frame on that motherfucker. And that's what I wanted. My parents could afford it. They gave me what they could to get me to that point. But I made my own truck payment every fucking month. Every month. And that's because my dad instilled that in me. And so, you know, everything I do the way I am. I mean, I remember when I told my dad I wanted to start this journey in the fitness industry and all this and whatnot. And he said, son, it won't surprise me with you. Whatever comes about, that's not going to surprise me. And there was a conversation we had a couple months ago. You know, my dad's retired now. My dad's had multiple heart attacks, and he can't work. You know, so he retired from the corrections. My mom works at a home where she takes care of kids with disabilities and stuff like that, and she works a lot. You know. And so I do the best to help my mom and dad out, you know, when I can. I take care of them the best that I can financially or whatever I can do to help them. They don't like that. Sometimes I don't give them the option to like that, you know. But I know if the roles were reversed, they would be doing that for me, you know. And so I just do the best that I can for them. And there was a point where my dad was retiring and he was having his heart attacks, and there's a lot going on financially for them. And I just remember telling him, like, Dad, like, I'm gonna work my ass off, man. And the day that I become a fucking millionaire, man, I'm taking care of you. And he's like, I know, son. I said, no, Dad, I'm telling you right now, like, that day is gonna fucking come. That day's gonna come. I said, I've done everything I said I'm gonna do, I've done. I just can't stop. It's an addiction to me to do what I am that I'm doing. And when I set a goal, I want to get there. Like, let me tell you, when I was laying in a bed in Walter Reed, did I ever think that I'd be here right now? No. When I stepped into that powerlifting gym and I told that guy at that powerlifting gym, hey, I want to do full power, and he looked at me like I was dumb, Did I stop? No, I became a fucking goddamn full power athlete. And now when everybody looked at me here in this city and everywhere else and said, what, you, and I told everybody, I think I'm going to try to do something in fitness and become big on social media and this and this. And everybody said, bah, social media, blah, who cares? Well, motherfucker, now I make money off of social media. And I now it's my job. It's a career for me now. You know? So all these doubts that people have always told me, I've always been able to do it. And my dad's never doubted me. What I'm saying is my dad said, son, I know you will. Because you never have.
Perfect.
Am I done?
You're done.